Happy Robert Burns night. Hello, hello. Morton is in his kilt. Morton is still cooking. Martin is bringing us mince and tatties. It's a Scottish staple. I will let him tell you about it. We have the music playing is Dougie MacLean, one of our favorite Scottish artists. And I'm gonna let Morton tell you all about Robert Burns too. Hello, hello. And Morton baked shortbread. We'll let Morton tell you about that too. But normally now, in the past, we have had Robert Burns night supper. We've had it in person with a lot of people. We are not this year. I'm actually trying to avoid people because I'm leaving just in a little bit and I don't want to get sick before I fly. And yep, the famous Scottish poet. Scotland's, they have a name for him, Scotland's something poet. He's the one. He wrote Auld Lang Syne, and Morton's gonna read you a little bit of Robert Burns. We're gonna play some games. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna eat some Scottish food. No haggis. Normally at a Burns supper you would have haggis. We are not having haggis. We're having something completely different. And Morton's just dishing it up right now. It's one of my favorite. Yeah, Morton baked Scottish shortbread. That's the shortbread. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh, I wish I could share this. Over, please. We're having a party. I wish you were here. It would be fun. What is that? Something on this tablecloth. It was a pretty mild day today. We did a couple little errands. Oh, I got my prescription for the whole month that I'm away. So that's sorted. Yep, you're right here. You're at the forest. You're in the forest. You're at the table. And you're gonna get to see Morton in his kilt in a minute. Morton looks so cute. Robert Burns is Scotland's poet. If you've heard his work before, he wrote Auld Lang Syne. Honey, this is my mince and tatties. This was Morton's favorite meal growing up. Morton made this tonight for us, and I'm super sorry. We're gonna eat in front of you. We'll take turns talking and eating. It's gonna be, I don't wanna be rude. I like to share food. But we're gonna have fun. We're just gonna have a fun little party. I want Morton to tell you about this. I'm gonna take the first bite. This stuff, it's mince and tatties. It's called, if you've ever had cottage pie, kind of like cottage pie. My mouth is watering. I'm gonna take a bite. You're the best. Morton, tell them about Robert Burns night.
It's a celebration of Robert Burns' life, as he was a Scottish poet and he wrote Auld Lang Syne, To a Moose, The Rose, and a load of different stuff. And the haggis is the ode to a haggis and things like that.
And that's normally what you'd eat at a Burns.
Yeah, at a Burns night you'd normally eat haggis, but I think you can get them over here now, but for a long time they were banned because it was a meat that was getting imported.
Wait, honey, can you stand up back there and show them your kilt? So, you know how awesome Morton is? He has a kilt too. He has a kilt. He only wears it on very special occasions. Come closer, honey.
So they have a ceilidh or a party on the thing, and they do ode to a haggis. I forgot to look it up on my phone. It's something like Great Chief to know the pudding race and how something about your son's face and all that. and then they'll say, different people will say different Burns poems, and no, you wouldn't want to see it lifted as a true Scotsman. And
This is so good.
I used beef bouillon cubes, so although I used vegetarian meat, it's not 100% vegetarian because I kind of had to buy, still had a little bit of beef seasoning in it. That if you get the kind that's like, you know, it's like, I don't know what they use, I think it's like yeast they use in it, that you can make it 100% vegetarian. So it'd be good, it's good that way. You could use deer meat if you wanted. I mean, you can use any kind of meat if you want, but the mince is usually ground beef. If you use it in a cottage pie, it's beef. I always laugh at it. It's shepherd's pie. Like even a main store like Aldi's is selling a shepherd's pie, and it's beef they use in it. It's like, I don't know about you, but how many shepherds do you see looking after a flock of cows? So over in Britain, it's like a cottage pie was made using beef, and it was similar to this. It was ground beef stew with mashed potatoes over the top, finished off in the oven, and then it was like the lamb was the shepherd's pie. Yeah, it usually has a lot more gravy.
Yours,
but
honey.
It usually has a lot more gravy than that, but it's like I was using a bouillon cube and it kind of boiled off.
It usually is more gravy. It is so good. I'm not going to eat any more of that just now. But babe, this shortbread, did you make 2 different kinds?
No, it's the same. They were just baked in different pans.
So Morton, honey, I'm going to hold this up. It's a castle. What's your favorite castle in Scotland?
Hales.
Same. There's a castle called Hales Castle. Morton and I call it our castle. You can go to it any time of the day, free to get in, and it had been owned by Mary Queen of Scots' husband, Lord Darnley, and it sits in the middle. You have to drive through fields to get to it, and it's magical. Morton and I, our most magical night ever there, we had gone to see one of the Harry Potters that had just came out the movies, and it ended about midnight. Morton said, do you want to take a run down to Hales Castle? I said, yes. Who doesn't want to go to a castle? It was a full moon, and the moon was blue light, wasn't it, honey? Mm-hmm. Blue light everywhere. The whole castle was blue. We got down there about 1 o'clock in the morning, and of course nobody else was there. You can't see anything from there except that castle. And there were bats flying around. It was just so incredible. And so here you made a butterfly. What's the butterfly mean to you?
I don't know. It was on the pan.
Honey, Sarah.
All right, are you feared the butterflies?
Morton, our daughter came over.
Full moon the night, apparently.
Oh, it's a full moon tonight. Oh, well, and he's wearing his kilt. So our daughter, I met Morton in person in June. In September, our daughter came over for a visit, and Morton said to her, are you feared of the butterfly? And she couldn't quite understand Morton yet.
I said, are you feared of butterfly?
You said, are you feared to the butterfly? Because her and I still crack up about it. And Sarah looks at me and she goes, Mom, what does that mean? And Morton said, are you scared of butterflies? And he wanted to take us to this butterfly world. We never did get there, did we? Never went to it. Okay, honey, you made a crown. What does the crown signify to you?
That's a princess thing, that's you.
A princess thing? I thought it was about Scone Palace.
No.
Tell them about Scone Palace.
Scone Palace was like a royal palace in Fife. And it's an amazing place to visit. They have like peacocks running about there. And I don't know if they still actually have them, but they had albino ones there, the white peacocks. They were amazing to see, because when they put up their tail feathers, you could actually still see the whole peacock pattern on it, just in pure white.
But didn't they hide the crown there?
I can't remember what it was they had
And
there.
the stone is there.
It might be now.
Remember the stone?
Hi there, everybody.
How's your shortbread?
It's actually really good.
Oh, Morton also made a pair of lips.
Rolling Stones.
What are they for, honey?
Kissing you.
Here. And a handbag? What is the handbag for?
Oh, I don't know, that's you.
Shopping?
I don't know what the story is with the albino peacocks.
How's
They
the
just
shortbread?
look really neat. The shortbread's actually really good. It was all recipe
That's
I
right.
used.
He's in a kilt because this is Robert Burns night. This is a big deal in Scotland. Well, in the UK too, they celebrate
Yeah.
it, like in England as well. Honey, do you want to stand up and show them the kilt?
I just did.
Tell them about the kilt.
Flower of Scotland tartan. I'm wearing it casual with a casual jacket and shirt. And it's part of the Bonnie Prince Charlie outfit that has a waistcoat and a formal jacket with, you wear it with like bow tie and you wear it with a bow tie and stuff. And I've got the casual leather sporran rather than the furry like
Who made this for
dress
you?
sporran. We made it together, did we not?
Did we
Out of
make
a
it
kit.
together?
We did make it
Who
together.
made that for you?
You made that, yeah. And I lost the one that was on the kilt. And I've got the
Honey, what's the tartan?
ski and do with a deer's antler handle on it. It's the thing it means. It's short knife or something it stands for. The tartan's flower of Scotland. It was designed for the Scottish national rugby team. And that's just I don't know what it is on it. It's just a belt.
Isn't it lovely?
The shoes are brogues with a sort of fancy, I don't know if you can see them, they're just brogues
Can you
with
see the
fancy
shoes?
laces. What?
Tell them about your
Oh, and you have
flags.
just the sock flashes, it's the same as what the tartan of your kilt is. And you'd normally have I used to have like a sword one, I think it's up in my box, but I keep forgetting about it. Priscilla had made me one to keep the thing down, but I lost the one that I had. Yeah, the shoes are pretty comfortable, yeah. As they're leather soled brogues. The only thing that's a bit annoying with them, you have to be careful when you go places because they've actually got the segs on the bottom of them that like click. So if you're on wooden floors, you've got to be
Walk
careful.
up- go back and walk on
You've
the
got to be
wooden
careful
floor.
you don't go scratch
walk
the
back
floor
there.
up.
Martin is always adorable. You hear him clickety clicking?
They almost sound like cat shoes.
So, Morton, it's not a purse, it's a, what is the word?
Sporran.
A sporran.
It's because there's no pockets on it, the kilt or anything. The traditional original kilt was actually something like 13 yards of fabric that wraps round you. This is basically it's a wrap round kilt for just for formal wear. It buckles here and here and it wraps round. There's still a hell of a lot of fabric in it because as you can see the pleats in the back of it. I think there's about 5 yards in this kilt and there's 13 yards in like a standard kilt that they
What
wrap
is in
round.
there?
It used to work as their blanket and their bedding and everything.
What's in there?
My phone.
Oh, his phone.
But there's a guy, he's got a video on TikTok that shows you the standard kilt putting on because they'll sort of lay it out on the ground and they'll wrap it around themselves and then it goes round their waist up over their shoulder and then gets pinned and everything, and they used to use it as bedding and everything like that. But apparently the kilt, when you watch films like Braveheart and that, historically it's nonsense. At that time in history, the kilt that wasn't even in existence, it wasn't invented till about the 17th century. And apparently it was something to do with foundries and steel mill factories to protect them. It was some kind of loose clothing to protect them. And if the programme we watched was correct, it was actually an English factory owner in Scotland that came up with the idea of the kilt, and then it took off from there.
Honey, tell us what happens at a Burns night supper.
At the Burns supper, they toast the haggis and then they
They
go.
pipe it in.
Yeah, they pipe in the haggis and then
So
they toast it.
bagpiper pipes in the haggis. So at a Burns supper, everybody sits around a big table.
No, this is Flower of Scotland pattern.
Everybody sits around a big table and a piper pipes in the haggis. The haggis comes in on a big platter, and then they toast the
I'm about
haggis.
half his height,
Honey, will you read Ode to the Haggis?
if you can find it.
You have your phone.
I'll never
Morton will,
understand it.
Morton will read Ode to the Haggis, but they wrote it in, Robert Burns, this is the Robert Burns supper. Robert Burns wrote it, of course, in Old Scots because when did he live? We should know
17th
that.
century. I
He
think.
was from the 17th century. And, yeah, he's fast. But, yes, he's going to do the address to the haggis. And then one of the boys at the party, the boys will do an address to the lassies. And then one of the lassies will do an address to the boys. And it's so cute. They write that themselves.
Didn't realise
And
it was
they drink, just read the start of it. Do you want to sit down to read or stand?
Fair for your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the puddin' race, aboon them a ye tak your place, pinch, tripe or therm, weel are ye worthy o' a grace, as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher there ye fill, your hurdies like a distant hill, your wind would help to mend a mill in time o' need, while through your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife see rustic labour dight, and cut you up with ready sleight, trenching your gushion's entrail bright, like ony ditch. And then, oh what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich. Then, horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal tack the hindmost on they drive, till all their wheel swelled kites belvey are bent like drums, the old guidman maist like to reeve, bethank it hums. That's about half it. Is that enough?
Can you guys understand that? Did anyone understand that? An Electra had waitress many a Robbie Burns nights. Are you from Scotland? Because a lot of people call him Robbie Burns, but if you're Scottish, you call him Robbie Burns. Vicky, thank you.
Ode to a moose is
You didn't
better.
understand? Find Ode to the Mouse and read that. Ode to the Moose. It's a mouse. Oh, hey, Priscilla. Morton's in his kilt. We are celebrating Robert Burns night. Morton made us mince and tatties. This was his favorite dish growing up in Scotland. Morton baked us incredible shortbread. I'm gonna have one of these. I'm gonna eat a castle. Look at that. Oh, he's Gam Gam. If he was hungry, he would be eating. He ate about half his plate. They didn't have the haggis as the main meal. Oh, Morton, how often would you eat mince and tatties? Once a week?
Usually
Probably?
once a week, yeah.
Once a week.
It's a cheap, ready, easy meal for a family.
Morton-
It's made out of ground beef.
Morton left Scotland in 2006. I don't know.
Yeah. To a Mouse by Robert
Soup,
Burns.
then haggis, then steak pie. I would have had the soup. I would have skipped the haggis. Steak pie, I do enjoy that.
Quite long as well.
You can read, yes, the pudding. The pudding is dessert. We met online. Morton's the first person I talked to on the computer. Stew and tatties as well, Morton. Yep, there's a book. Actually, it's right here because I was going to show you. That's our first date. That's the day after I landed in Scotland. We went to this place called Bass Rock.
Have I ever made what?
Have you ever made haggis? Probably.
You shoot haggis.
Morton, don't.
You
not
catch
tonight.
haggis fresh off the hill.
Morton, cabbage and bacon. Morton believes and says that haggis is an animal. It is not. It's not. Haggis is sheep's stomach stuffed with like all the parts off of, is it sheep and cows and everything? And oatmeal and seasoning. It's different. It is different. Did you find the mouse?
Yeah.
You want to read the mouse? So Morton calls the mouse a moose. Hey, Lisa. Farms up in the Highlands now with haggis. Yep. Electra said that. Electra, you're as naughty as Morton.
I mean, that girl that was on the
That's
day that was
naughty.
saying that the haggis was made, it's
That
like,
was on BBC as well.
yeah, she needs like really sorted out.
Sleeping, skewering beastie. Look.
Yep. Hey,
Thanks, Priscilla. I'm going to read you Ode to the Mouse.
To a Mouse by Robert Burns, on turning up her nest with the plough, November 1785. He was actually a farmer and everything, so he was out working in the fields with a plough, and he turned over a furrow and disturbed the mouse's nest. And like she was looking really terrified, and then he came up with a poem. So it was like, wee sleeket coorin timorous beastie, oh what panic's in thy breastie, thou needna start away so hasty, wee bickering brattle, I wad be laith to run and chase thee, wi' murder and pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt na whiles but thou male thieves, what then, poor beastie, thou mun live, a demonicker in a thrave, sa small request I'll get a blessing with thy lave and never miss it. Thy wee bit housey to in ruin, it's silly was the winds are strewing, and nothing now to big newin, o foggy green, and bleak December's winds ensuing, baith snell and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winters coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash the cruel coulter past, out throw thy cell. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee mony a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out for thy trouble, but how surhald to though the winter's sleety dribble, and Cranruch called. But Moosey, thou art no thy lane, and proven foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang aft idly, and lay us not but grief on pain for promised joy. Still thou art blessed compared to with me, the present only touches thee. But oh, I backward cast my ee on prospects drear, and forward though I canna see, I guess and fear. The end.
Did you get that? The of mice and men. That's the
The
first
best
time
laid
it was-
schemes o' mice and
Yep,
men.
the best laid schemes of mice and men. So when we say the best laid plans of mice and men, that is from there. Honey, would you look up My Love is Like a
That
Red,
was
Red Rose?
1785.
1785. 100 years before this place was built. Robbie Burns was over there in Scotland,
181.
giving it large. Or My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose?
Addressed to the devil.
No.
Man, that's long.
My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. It's a beautiful poem.
There's iPhone to kiss.
When I first met Morton, actually this day right here, that day, I was thinking that day because we were out with
It was him
friends.
that wrote that coming through the eye.
I knew that. You knew it too. I told you that before.
Everybody
Morton.
loves a lassie.
Electra wonders if you will sing it.
What?
My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose.
I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket.
But on that day, when we had our first picnic together, we were with our friends Stuart and Shona, and I was sitting there thinking, I want Morton to read me poetry, Scottish poetry, until I can understand what he's saying. This is the cover of a book that I wrote called How I Met My Morton. That's our first picture together. And I set this out here because I wanted Morton to read The Real Jack Frost tonight. We'll do it if we have time because it's set in Scotland. Look. And Morag, the Nessie, Morag, her favorite treat is shortbread. I'm full of surprises. Thanks, Tiffany. Morton is the star tonight. Morton looks so beautiful.
A Red, Red Rose by Robert Burns. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I. And I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. That's it.
You should have sang it. What tune
I
does it go?
don't know the tune.
Isn't it? Is the tune to this?
Something
The
like, oh, my
same
love
too?
is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. But I don't know the rest of it. I know how it starts, but I don't know the rest of it for into the next verses.
You're in Manchester. Lovely. Do you know Carl Pilkington? He lives in London now. Morton does not have a Scottish bonnet. Does not. You're welcome, Benita. Oh my gosh, I got so many pretty hearts out of the kiln today. Honey, we should do a little dance. Do you remember any of the dances?
No.
Oh, I would love to have a ceilidh here. A ceilidh is a Scottish dance. And what are you looking at now?
It looks totally different to the song.
Set this up here. And now you talk to people.
But shortbread I was eating.
The shortbread that you were eating, I finished it. Morton's not a big dancer. There's a Scottish dance that they do called a ceilidh, and all the guys wear their kilts. It's so much fun, and ceilidh means to have a blether and a dance, right?
I don't know what it means, to be honest.
I think it means that. And a blether is like a chat or a visit. Hey, Dakota. We're celebrating Robert Burns Night. He is, was he Scotland's national poet?
Yeah, something like that.
And lived 100 years before this church was built. Morton looks super cute, Laura. He's in his kilt.
Not as cute as her.
No, honey.
She looks cute all the time.
You're the cute one, Morton. I used to always say to Morton, "You're so cute," and Morton would say to me, "Monkeys are cute." And I'm like, well, then you're a little monkey. Cute little monkey. We were very naughty today. We went out. We stopped at a bakery. I had to go. Morton talked me into going to this urgent care walk-in clinic. Oh, I thought that was Caledonia. I might get him to dance with me with Caledonia when that comes on. But Morton talked me into going to the 8-some reel. Can you play the 8-some reel? Have you ever done that?
I used to be able to, but I can't remember it now.
So many.
It's done in sets of 4 people.
Yeah, so many dances they do. And thank goodness when they would have the ceilidh and they would do those dances, there were always people there that
Dash
knew
and
what
White
to do.
Sergeant, Niggy
Yeah.
Gordons and everything.
And the Strip the Willow. I remember Strip the Willow. So I went and had my ear looked at. It's not infected. It's just like a tubes block leftover remnants from my cold. I didn't want to get on the plane with an ear infection. So I'm glad I went. I'm not worrying about that now. Morton insisted on it today. So when I was at the doctor's Morton stayed back and did the mince and tatties and baked the Scottish shortbread. And I wish I could share this. This is, oh, it's so good. This is my favorite cookie in the whole world. Is it yours? It is my favorite cookie in the whole wide world. You got your heart today. Yay. Wonderful. Yes, his Morton shortbread is so good.
We met online in 2000, 2001. Beginning of 2001,
Blue
we met
Ridge,
online.
it's my favorite thing to talk about. So much so, I even wrote a book about it, How I Met My Morton. And that's our first date ever. That's the day after I met Morton. And we went to Bass Rock. We were down in North Berwick. It was amazing. Thank you. We're all going to France. The book is on Amazon. I do like cabbage rolls. Do you, honey?
What's the ones they call them here? Pigeons.
The book is on Amazon. The link's in the bio for the book. Do you put powdered sugar?
It's usually granulated. I chucked granulated sugar on those ones.
Yeah, there is no powdered shortbread on there.
Yeah, they're on Amazon. She's got, I think, 5 different books on Amazon at the moment.
And this is a book that I wrote. It's a fairy tale called The Real Jack Frost. And I wrote it with a Scottish accent. And I want more, when I come back from France, Morton is going to record this.
You can show what's for dinner.
What's for dinner?
Mince and tatties.
This was Morton's favorite meal in Scotland.
That and
Tell them
stovies.
about it.
It's great. That's a vegetarian version. It's normally ground beef with a brown gravy. I make it with peas in. A lot of people leave the peas out. But it's peas, carrots and onions with a brown gravy, ground beef. And I have it with mashed potatoes. And a lot of people will turn it into a cottage pie by putting it in a pan and covering it, putting the potatoes over the top and putting it in the oven and making a cottage pie because it's beef.
Morton, this is so good.
That one's a vegetarian version, but if anybody's making it, make sure that the bouillon cubes you get don't have any like beef fat or that in it. I couldn't find one today in Walmart, but I had ones before. Ironically, I think I got them in the Dollar Tree before, and they were 100% vegetarian. It was like beef stock cubes that were 100% vegetarian because I think they used yeast byproducts. And so if you want to make it, I used Beyond Beef, and but unfortunately it wasn't until I got home the bouillon cubes had a slight amount of
Tell them about
beef
this.
stock in it.
Tell them about this.
I can't remember what you guys call them.
It was called a Long John today. What
Yeah.
did you call them?
It was a coconut bun.
Morton had these in Scotland. They were in the bakery today. You want to eat a bite?
You want a knife to cut it in half, or are you just eating your half
You
and then
eat
give me it?
no, you eat
eat your
here.
half first. That one's piped full of cream as well.
Okay. I'm going to eat over a plate.
People ask what I miss in Scotland. That's about one of the things that I miss
Bakeries.
is the fresh bakeries. Every town had about 3, maybe 4 bakeries that you could go to, and the selection of cakes and buns was unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
And fresh bread straight out the oven, and even the newspaper shop. In the morning, the guys on their way to work would buy fresh morning rolls, and they would deliver them in the newspaper shop, and you go and buy your newspaper and half a dozen rolls. And it was funny, the ones that sold out first were the ones they call well fired, and they almost looked black on top. They were really chewy. At the top of them, it was like they well fired the crust, and the taste of them was unbelievable.
So after we got these today, I said to Morton, don't cook anything fancy. Don't do anything special tonight. Because he had a long day. I had a long day. Morton, when I went back to the doctor, Morton came home Made the mince and tatties. Baked the shortbread. Honey, here.
Where was the person that was on
You
for
can
England?
bite. Manchester.
Manchester probably still does the morning rolls as
Yeah,
well.
Manchester. So this is, isn't it delicious? Oh my gosh, that's so yummy. So he got one of these. It's a Long John, a coconut Long John filled with white cream. And then,
I love rice pudding.
wait for it though. We were in the shop and Morton said, that looks interesting. Didn't you, honey? Here, let's do this. And this reminds me of something we got in Scotland called oysters. Remember? Tell them what an oyster is.
That was the ice cream thing, was it? No, the oyster.
Wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was ice cream. But it looked like this. It was like ice cream in a cream puff bun.
Yeah, that was my downfall. That's probably why I had my heart attack. I can't help that now. I'm going to make a mess.
Here, have that bite. Oh, it's so good. So good. This, I want to say this is going to be the only time you're ever going to see me eating in front of you. But,
Sweeties
look,
and
what's that say, honey? Wind,
Windbeutel, but I don't know what it means.
Windbeutel in German. What's the name of the bakery? Is it Rita's?
It was Rita's, I think,
Was
yeah.
it? No, I did a TikTok about it. Oh, Martin, Renee wants to see your kilt. I love the kilt tour. Give us the twirl, Martin. Give us the twirl. How
I'll give you a drink of
wonderful.
water.
So normally on a Robert Burns night, they would be drinking whiskey. I don't drink any alcohol. You don't have any whiskey, but you have Boilo.
Boilo, that's 90% whiskey.
Here, honey, have your little, why don't you go get a little shot of it just to have a little toast for the Robert Burns night? Morton in a kilt is the cutest thing ever. I don't have a Scottish outfit. I have Morton. I would like to have a Scottish outfit. I want to go to Scotland with Morton, and I would love to get a Scottish dress. Little pockets on the socks. No, they're called flash. It's called flashing, I think, or flashes, and it's the same tartan. There's a little hunk of metal on the bottom of the kilt of the honey, what are the things on the socks called? Flashes? Flashes. On the bottom of his shoes, there's a little piece of metal. Good afternoon, Starbound. We're having a love. Babe, that is a big amount. Honey, that is a big amount. You're gonna be wrecked.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, a friend of ours, honey,
It's fruit juice as well as the biscuit.
tell them about this.
It's strong whiskey and fruit juice.
Oh
They call
my
it Boilo.
Are you gonna really drink it?
I'll sip on it, dear.
Here, honey, you have that. Morton's right after that. Here, eat over your plate. Over the plate. Morton loves that
You're a
coconut
bad
thing.
man.
It smells so strong, but it's supposed to be good, and it is whiskey. Look, Lisa gave you a lemonade buddy. Thanks, Lisa. Here, honey, get that and give a little cheers, and we'll toast Robbie Burns. Ode to
Cheers.
Robbie Burns. How is it?
That's good. It might help my cough.
That's a local drink here called Boilo, right? Morton, honey, don't eat all that shortbread.
Oh,
Make that
well, I had a
last.
bite out there, please.
Renee says probably won't taste so good after donut. You
No, it
don't know
tasted
Morton.
really good.
That when I met Morton, this freaked me out. Morton would drink a Guinness and eat a chocolate bar. What's in this, honey?
It's oranges,
Yes, to
spices,
absorb the
and
alcohol.
I think it's Royal Crown whiskey, 100 proof.
Yeah, it's a toddy. Yeah, it will help the cough. Currently make some rice. Yum, 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 yum. Thanks, Artful Nana. Morton's wearing his kilt. Danny, thank you for that.
That actually came out pretty good.
That shortbread is so good. So Morton's having a drink of Boilo. It's like a whiskey thing. We're eating, that's the decadent plate of dessert. Wait, let me put this thing on it. This is our little feast. Morton made the shortbread. We bought the donuts. And then this is what's left of my mince and tatties. Morton did all the cooking tonight. No, honey, you have that.
Yeah, they
What's-
were made, was it Oxford graduated cabinet makers?
The snow is all gone.
Yeah, thankfully.
The snow is all gone.
It was really easy to make, Diane.
And I went to the doctor. My ear is not infected. Honey,
I
Miss
never made a
Vicky,
video, but it's all recipes, shortbread mix. I put in Scottish shortbread, and the dough was a bit strange. It was more crumbly than I thought it would be, but it baked up really well, especially these ones. I did these in a Wilton cookie pan,
They
and these
came out
ones came out
good.
really good.
So good. Thanks. Thanks so much, Stella. we
Yeah, it was really foggy down here as well.
Morton and I, we're doing a whole lot of nothing over the next couple of days till I leave, but we just had some great news, didn't we? We had surprise news. Oh, I love this song. The dinner is, honey, say the dinner?
Mince and tatties.
Mince and tatties. And our great news is, while I'm away, our daughter and our granddaughter are coming to visit Morton. We'll have fun. That'll be
quite-
really good.
It's
Won't it?
quite funny actually. What we're having for dinner is a phrase that we use in Scotland. If you think somebody's talking nonsense, you'll say to them, "You're talking mince."
So you're talking ground beef.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. They're coming up. They're flying up to visit Morton while I'm gone. Which is they're gonna have so much fun. I'm so happy. It's good because Morton wanted to stay home. He didn't want to go along. And this will be nice.
I never gave it a thought. I should have had some of that cream on a bit of shortbread.
Cream on your no, the shortbread needs nothing. Tell them about Millionaire shortbread.
Can't get haggis here.
Honey,
If you can't, it'd be a the haggis was banned for being imported for
not
a long
anymore
time.
now. I think
you can get it now, but it's usually canned haggis and it's
Oh.
like nasty.
Tell them about what you heard just today. Chocolate haggis.
Oh, chocolate haggis and vegetarian haggis. It's like that's sacrilege to the animal.
I'm going to France for the whole month of February for an artist residency at a chateau, and Morton and I both love Outlander, don't we? Mm-hmm. And guess what? In Scotland, Morton was a printer, just like Jamie was. And Morton was a printer just outside of Edinburgh.
And accidentally, before we even saw the show, we'd visited most of the sets.
Most of it was filmed right around where Morton grew up. Morton didn't know this. The church that Jamie and Claire got married in, that's like 5 miles from your dad's house. And I went there and I got to go in the church. It was so cool. It's on private property, and when the guy comes out, this guy comes out in a kilt. They were doing some filming there, not Outlander, for something else, and he said he's like, "Are you waiting for someone?" And I said, "No, I just wanted to look at the church." And he goes, "Oh, you're American. You must be an Outlander fan then." And he said it kind of in a grumpy way. "Thanks, Priscilla." And I said to him, "Well, actually, I live in an old church, and I love to look at old churches because we have a problem roof, and I like to look at the roofs of church." And he's like, "You live in a church?" And then I showed him a couple pictures of this place. So at first he wasn't going to talk to me because he thought I was like an Outlander person there just like wanting to look at the place. He ended up giving me a tour of the place, and I got pictures of him in his kilt. He was a really nice guy, and it turned out he owned the place. Well, he owns, it's a big, like a country estate, and that's the church that's on it. It was accidentally wonderful.
We actually did a craft fair at the
Hopeton
house
House.
at Hopeton House that they use the front of the house for one of the estates, and they use the back of the house for the English estate that these Sons families meant to be from.
Sandringham.
I can't remember
Lord
the name of
Sandringham.
it. Lord whatever his face is down in England, as they use the back end of the estate for that and the front end for I think it was the bad guy that ended up getting taken out. And the Blackness Castle is actually used for Fort William, and we'd visited there as well. And Craig Miller Castle, we'd actually been in there and we're watching the show, and it was the one where he's in jail, and or one of the jails. And I'm looking at it and I said, "I recognise that tree. I'm sure that's Craig Miller." And then sure enough, they pan round to another section. I said, "Yeah, that's definitely Craig Miller." And it's in Edinburgh. It's one of the lesser famous castles in Edinburgh. Everybody knows Edinburgh Castle itself because of the 1 o'clock gun and everything. But if you ever go to Edinburgh, go to Craig Miller Castle. It's absolutely amazing. It's in Little France, where in actual fact Mary Queen of Scots stayed in Craig Miller. That's
the first castle we went to together. I'm gonna get another drink of water.
and it's actually a brilliant one to visit. And then his print house was down the bottom of the Royal Mile. It's an amazing area of the town to visit as well. Yeah, I don't know where she got that one. Temu, she got her blouse on. And then one of the funny ones as well is there's one of the shows, they're at a flour mill down in what's the name of that flour mill again? No, the flour mill. It's down the castle. It's the one near Glenkinchie.
I can't think of the name.
There's an ancient flour mill. Preston Mill flour mill. We'd actually visited there, and it's one of the ones when he goes and hides under the water and pretends that the mill's jammed and everything. We've been down there as well. It was great.
Nothing to see here.
That's great, Diane.
Nothing to see
Maid of Honour
here.
was for Glasgow.
Oh, lovely. That is so good. That's delicious. Which one was your favorite?
The one that's the coconut thing.
Same.
Thank you. Beautiful shade of green. Oh, aye, the shirt. Yeah. This is my sort of casual shirt. Thanks, E.
His
Now
Bonnie
lives in
Prince,
Florida.
his Bonnie Prince Charlie shirt, he wears a bow tie with, and we'll have to do a kilt show sometime. He has so many kilt shirts, don't you, babe? Thank you. Nick followed. Thanks for following, Nick. It is Robert Burns night. We're celebrating the Scottish poet, the great Scottish poet. Today is his birthday. He was, I don't know when he was born. When was he born? 17?
Can't tell you.
17
That's how
something
bad
something.
Scottish history is at school.
Oh my gosh, I just had a little star on my head.
That,
We didn't go to the thrift store. We ended up not going.
that's what's really bad, actually, is at school in Scotland, we don't get taught history. But what's his famous poem? You sing it every New Year.
Every New Year, you sing his most famous poem, Old Lang Syne. Honey, tell us what Old Lang Syne means.
Old, like for old time forgot, kind of
Old time's sake.
time's sake, yeah.
Yep. Old
It's a
Lang
long
Syne.
time ago, is it? Old Lang Syne. It's
Old Lang
old time
Syne.
ago.
I think it means old time's sake. I always
Yeah.
thought. And then he
She
wrote,
never know.
he wrote,
1759,
kidding.
Diane says.
I'm not going to get a new phone. He also did My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose, Ode to a Haggis. Is it Ode to a Mouse? Mm-hmm. Ode to a Moose?
And that
A
one,
mouse?
Through the Rye, that everybody knows.
Yeah, Through the Rye.
And the phrase of mice and men probably came from, well, I don't know if if he came up with it, but he used it in 1785 of best plans of mice and men in the to a mouse one.
I think I read somewhere that it was the first time. Morton and I never visited his house. We should
No.
have done that.
No, couldn't get our hands on one.
He made mints and tatties.
And they don't run about the hills here for me to be able to catch one.
Morton still has a lot of my friends believing haggis is a real animal.
They are a real animal.
Morton is so naughty. Morton was telling them that with his dead serious face, and we're going over to Scotland to a louse. The Bonnet Church, Robert Burns. Yeah. You get called haggle. Oh my goodness, haggis. But Morton's telling them this, and we get a, honey, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when we're in Scotland, they're like, oh, there's haggis on the menu. There's haggis on the menu. And one of them said, is it fresh haggis? And this guy, the server, he's like, oh, aye. And they got haggis to try, and they're telling him that it's an animal, right? And he's saying, yes, it's an animal. And I'm saying, no, it is not an animal. Well, it is an animal.
It's not
but
a holiday, but we celebrate the Robert Burns.
No, this top came from Temu, and I have on my $1 khaki pants that I got at the charity store.
We
last
don't
week.
actually get a day off work or anything, but
And
we
thanks for
celebrate
calling,
Robert
Carol.
Burns.
I'm waiting for this certain special song to come
It's like St Andrew's Days, I think November the 30th, and we don't actually get a day off work for it.
weird.
It's actually ironic. America makes more of St Patrick, the Irish saint, than Britain makes of the saints over there, like St Andrew for Scotland, St Patrick, and things like that. And it's like we didn't get any holidays for it. America goes mad for St Patrick.
Diane, yes, the sheep's stomach.
No,
and
it's an
filled with
animal
stuff.
caught fresh on the hill.
Yes, Morton was telling us about that at the start of the hour. And we're gonna stop at 7 because I told our son we'd come down tonight, and I'm gonna have a brushing party with Bon.
Robert Burns is a famous Scottish
Yeah,
poet.
give it in a nutshell.
He was the Scottish poet. I don't know if he was poet laureate or like this Scottish
National Poet.
Scottish national poet, but he was in the 1700s, and he wrote the most famous poem that he ever wrote is the one that we sing every New Year. But you would recognise so many, like the thingy Through the Rye is like one of his poems that was turned into a song, and To a Rose and things like that.
My love is
like a red, red rose. It's a song, and it's like, it's one of these things. It's pretty bad. Scotland as a nation, we achieved so much in the world, but it's all played down, and a lot of people don't
Thanks,
actually
Caesar.
realise the amount of things. Like I don't know where it is now actually, but we've got a really funny. There's like a sort of poem or that's like, you know, about a guy gets up in the morning and he's like goes out of his house and it's a tarmac road and it was tarmacadam, invented by macadam. He gets onto his bike that's
Oh,
on.
I know where it is. Do you
where
want
is
to
it?
read it?
Where is it?
I'll go grab it.
Right. And the bike tyres with Dunlop, that was Dunlop that invented them. He was Scottish. And it goes on about the different amount of things that came out of Scotland, and like penicillin and things like that, you know. All right, Gemini. What's this request? This is, we're doing Burns Night tonight, Gemini. Yeah, King James VI of Scotland, first of England. They said he was the wisest fool in Christendom. He was actually Mary Queen of Scots' son, and I think it was Queen Elizabeth died. She left no heir, and she chose King James to take over, and they thought that he was an idiot and that they were going to tell him everything to do. And he was actually a really clever king and was so
Take a
good for the
picture.
country. It was unbelievable.
So you can blow it up because that's teeny tiny writing. This is a little thing, but it's teeny tiny. So if he takes a photo and blows it up, he'll be able to read it a lot better.
Don't know if it's going to fold.
It'll take. Oh, now blow it up. I do that a lot of times with little writing. Alexa, stop. We'll stop that so you can hear. Blow it up and hold it up here so you can look up here and you're not looking down. So your voice goes up there.
I don't know if I could read that bit. It says, the average Englishman in the home he calls his castle slips into his national costume, a shabby raincoat patented by the chemist Charles Mackintosh from Glasgow, Scotland. And en route to his office, he strides along the English lane, surfaced by John McAdam of Ayr, Scotland. He drives an English car fitted with tyres invented by John Boyd Dunlop, veterinary surgeon of Dreghorn, Scotland. At the office, he receives the mail bearing adhesive stamps invented by John Chalmers, bookkeeper from Dundee, Scotland. During the day, he uses the telephone invented by Alexander Graham Bell, born in Edinburgh. His daughter pedals her bicycle at the Kirkpatrick Macmillan Blacksmill at Roughness. He watches the news on TV. An inventor of John Logie Baird of Helensburgh, Scotland, and here's an item about the US Navy, founded by John Paul Jones of Kirkbeam, Scotland. Nowhere can an Englishman turn to escape the ingenuity of the Scots. He has by now been reminded too much of Scotland, and in desperation he picks up the Bible, only to find that the first man mentioned in the good book is a Scot, King James VI, who authorised its translation. He could take to drink, but the Scots make the best in the world. He could take a rifle and end it all, but the breech-loading rifle was invented by Captain Patrick Ferguson of Pitfour, Scotland. If he escaped death, he could find himself on an operating table injected with penicillin, discovered by Sir Alexander Graham Fleming of Darvell, Scotland, and given chloroform, an anaesthetic discovered by Sir James Young Simpson, obstetrician and gynaecologist of Bathgate, Scotland. Out of the anaesthetic, he could find no comfort in learning that he was safe as the Bank of England, founded by William Patterson of Dumfries, Scotland. Perhaps his only remaining hope would be to get a transfusion of good Scottish blood, which would entitle him to ask, "Who's like us?"
Oh my goodness. So the Scots basically invented all of it. And
That's a good mix,
thanks for
Irish and
following-
Cherokee.
Thanks for following, Melanie. That was lovely. Honey, how about one last little hurrah? What do you want to do?
I don't know.
You feel ready to dance now that you've had your drink? How was that?
It's pretty good, actually.
I love that this is a little postcard that I got when I lived in Scotland, and I love it so much. It's called "Was Like Us," and blank few and there. Indeed.
That's one of the actual craziest ones that's in there. Is John Paul Jones actually founded the American Navy, and during the Revolutionary War, they actually fight in the British Navy on the high seas. He almost took the port of Leith in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Did you know that?
They almost captured the port of Leith, but they were regarded as pirates.
Did you know that?
If an American Navy man was captured during the Revolutionary War, he wasn't treated as a prisoner of war, he was treated as a pirate. And they weren't given the same, like the French that were fighting alongside the Revolutionary Americans were treated as prisoners of war, but the Americans were treated as pirates. It was crazy.
I never knew that. And did you know that John Paul Jones, who founded the Navy, was from Scotland? Oh, you like that?
Yeah, Glenfiddich, yeah, that's a good whiskey, single malt.
Yeah.
Yeah, done well, that probably. It's probably a place name in Scotland. That's like my name, Morton. It's actually a town in Scotland as well. It's from the west of Scotland.
There's a Castle Morton in Scotland, and I have never been to it.
I've never
We
been
need to
either.
go.
The only thing I knew about Scotland was I thought there was a football team, and I thought their
Yay,
name was
too.
Nil, because it used to be Morton Nil.
We don't really have a crest. We have that.
There's the thing for Huliston, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah. Morton said it was made up for the tourist. Morton said that was made up for
Dunn's
the
a
tourist.
Scottish name as well, probably. There was an actor, Clive Dunn in Britain.
Yeah, I never knew that it was a Scottish guy who founded
Jones is a
founded
Welsh
our
name.
Navy. And I couldn't believe, where were we? We were reading about something about the Americans almost taking the port of Leith.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I never knew that. Never knew that.
I think
Cool
it's when
stuff.
we were actually at Edinburgh
Honey,
Castle. They had a plaque in the dungeons.
Let's take a quick vote. Who thinks Morton should go to Scotland this year?
Yeah.
Say yes if you think Morton should go to Scotland
Stop
this
it,
year.
dear.
Honey, I'm gonna manifest this into happening. Morton has not been back to Scotland since 2006. Babe, we could take everybody on an incredible tour of Scotland. We could go to Castle Morton and see his family.
I've got hundreds of places in America to go and visit.
He just wants to visit places in America. He does. There's a lot to see here. And he always says he lived there his whole life. He wants to see what's here now.
Yeah, it's like when you look at it, America, well, apart from going to like Hawaii, America on the one continent's got 49 places you can drive to.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Well, we're going to jump off. This has been fun, and I hope
We would
everybody...
love to see a live tour.
Yes. I would love that too. We need to do it. I go back to Scotland a lot. Morton has not been back at all. I think we need to change that, honey. Yeah, you're going to finish the book tonight. Awesome. Morton finished the book. Morton, did you find anything out you didn't know
What?
in that book?
What?
When you read the book.
Oh, it was a really surprise ending, huh?
No, but you probably read a lot of stuff for the first time about me going over to you.
All right.
You didn't know about what was going on over.
Right.
Yeah, I want Morton to write a book of how we met each other. It would be really different, I'm sure. The same story, but from his side of it. Everybody, have a beautiful night. Thanks for
Night.
hanging out. And tomorrow, Fuse Glass Friday, I'll give you a spoiler alert. We're gonna be fusing hearts. Fusing hearts. Thanks for being here, and here's to Rabbi Burns.
Night.
Martin, what's the saying?
Lang may your lung reek.
There you go. Have a great night,
Night.
everybody. See you later. Bye.